Hey, Mitch. All right. So this is actually, I think, the first time that I've seen you look like a little bit flat, um, and that just means that your glycogen stores are not topped off, which is, I think, probably to be expected with the calorie drop. Um, so I think we want to probably keep pushing here, and once we can get you closer, I think, like I've mentioned a couple times, uh, then we can start thinking more about if we get to that point early, then we can start thinking more about trying to fill you out a little bit more with some high days. But for now, we'll continue onward. The good thing is that your abs are starting to come in much better, and I can already see a difference from last week to this week in your midsection, so that's good. One thing, the only thing posing wise I wanted to mention is always, as always, try to continue to focus on pushing against the floor with your heels in those front poses. And let me see if I can find it. In the side triceps, just be careful. This is something that I have trouble with as well. It's tough when your arms are bigger because you have to kind of turn and rotate a little bit more. So we want you to kind of get this shoulder turned back a little bit more and get your back shoulder turned forward a little bit more. So we don't want you to kind of be straight up like this because it's going to make you look smaller. And then the other thing that's tough is that we don't want is that when you kind of face straight forward like this, it makes it a lot harder to see your waist. And so what ends up happening is that your arm here starts to hide your waist. And so when you turn and flex down on those obliques, this arm comes out a little bit more, and then you can see your waist a little bit better, and then we get a nice kind of X frame where we can see your back shoulder a little bit more, and this shoulder's turned out a little bit more so that we can see the width of your shoulders a little bit better, and then we can see the narrowness of your waist a little bit more. So as you hit this, just try to turn into it a little more is what I'm getting at. All right, so 10 weeks out, we're going to want to continue through this block. I think try to push out for 8 weeks. So 2 more weeks, and then give you a little bit of a breather and see where we're at. In the meantime, we're going to press on the gas a little bit more and add in some HIIT. So, again, we want to get you there a little bit quickly, or a little bit more quickly, being that the time span's a little bit shorter now. And so just you can see here, along with your step count, just sprints, high-intensity interval sprints 1 time per week. 5 sets of 30-second sprints. The idea with the sprints is that there needs to be no distribution of effort during each sprint. And that's how you know that you're truly doing a sprint. So in other words, if at any moment during the sprint you feel like you're pacing yourself or going slower than complete maximum speed, then either A, you need to rest a little bit longer between your sprints, or B, disregard the 30 seconds and try to aim for something more like 15 to 20 seconds. But the main idea is they just need to be all out for the entirety of the time frame for 5 sets. So yeah, that's kind of the thing there. They don't have to be like sprints like actual running. It could be like using a rower. It could be using an elliptical and going all out on the elliptical, or on an exercise bike. If you use an elliptical or bike, the thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have the intensity or the resistance on the bike or the elliptical at a very low speed or a very low intensity. And then as you're getting close to approaching your sprint, you're going to want to speed up until you're going as fast as you can. Then you'll start the timer for 30 seconds. And once you do that, you'll push the intensity on the bike or the resistance on the bike or the elliptical either all the way up or to some very high amount when you're already pedaling as fast as you can, and then you'll start going for the 30 seconds. So does that make sense? You'll go as fast as you can, crank that intensity up as you start the timing for your sprint, and then go for that 30 seconds throughout your sprint. And then once you finish, then you'll lower the intensity all the way back down again and rest, and kind of just active rest, and just go at some very easy pace. So that's kind of how you want to do that. And again, it does not have to be like sprinting like on a track or anything. And I would actually recommend against that. If you're not used to like actually running sprinting, the potential for injury doing that is going to be pretty high. And there's just a lot of susceptibility for hamstring injury as you stretch out that leading leg and pull back, and you're going to be really fucking sore if you like actually sprint just to the contact that your legs are making on either the pavement or the tarmac. So yeah, just once per week here, so that's updated. I thought you did a really nice job of, you ate a little bit more this day, and then getting things to even out. Ended up having carbs being a little bit higher, fat and protein being a little bit lower, but you ended up having your kcals be pretty much right on point, so that was very well done. So again, we'll continue with those same macronutrient inputs, and again, very, very good job hitting the step count. All right, so for the strength tab, so you said you felt a little bit of a strain on this day on the hip thrusts. I'm gonna leave them as is for now. What I would probably recommend doing is, so I'm going to leave the estimated 1RM as is for now, but what I would recommend doing if you need to is I would, again, type in a 0 for the given weight here, and then try to hit 5 sets of 12 at some very reduced load like you did on day 7. And so I would aim for keeping the reps and sets constant, but just reducing this value. Same thing for bench press if you need to. Reduce the weight, and it looks like you did that on day 5 here. And the squat and V-squat looks like it's doing pretty well still, so we'll try to keep that there. Hypertrophy, I think we're still doing pretty well. There's a lot of 7s, 110. So obviously this week I would, in this little section of biceps, I would modify the barbell curls and not the single arm dumbbell hammer curls, because those look like they're a little bit harder. But still lots of 7s, 8s, 6s, so we have room here. So I think that's really it training wise. Definitely looks like you're getting hungry. It's to be expected. This is where things are going to start to really get tough. So just continue to buckle down. You've done a really great job so far. And yeah, just keep, if nothing else, being flexible, and just like you did this week, if there's a day where you maybe eat a little bit more, then try to compensate for that and just stay flexible, so that mentally it doesn't become perhaps so monotonous or so taxing that you feel like you're going to crash and burn. But yeah, so again, we're still trying to get down to that probably 130, 132 range, at least by the 19th. You might be a little bit heavier than that for the 6th, but we'll take it as it comes, and again, just kind of press the gas a tiny bit more this week. All right, man. I think that's everything. So, as always, if you do need anything else, let me know. But other than that, should be off to another good, but yet challenging week.